Many times in trials, weakness blurs my vision, and my frustration gets a little out of hand. But it's then I am reminded I've never been forsaken. I've never had to stand one test alone. And when I look at all my victories, His Spirit rises up in me, 'cause it's through the fire my weakness is made strong. Oh yeah, yes. See, He never promised that the cross would not get heavy and the hills would not be hard to climb. Yes, He never offered victories without fighting, but He said help would always come in time. Oh yes, He did. Just remember when you're standing in the valley of decision and the adversary says give in. Oh, you gotta hold on. Our God will show up. He will take you through the fire again. See, I know within myself that I would surely perish. Oh, but if I trust the mighty hand of God, He'll shield the flames again, again. Yeah, yeah.
He never promised that the cross would not get heavy and the hills would not be hard to climb. He never offered the victory without fighting, but He said will come in time. Just remember when you're standing in the valley of decision and the adversary says give in. Just hold on. Our God will show up, and I know that He will take you. When you're standing in the valley of decision and the adversary says give in, just hold on. Our God will show up. He will, yeah. He never promised. He never promised. Oh, no. Glory to God. Oh, yeah, my son, my son. Hard to climb. He never offered the victory without fighting, but He said gonna come in time. So remember when you're standing in the valley of decision and the adversary says give in, just hold on. Our God gonna show up. Oh, yes, He will. Hallelujah. Thank you, Holy Ghost. He never promised that the cross would not get heavy and the hills would not be hard to climb. He never offered the victory without fighting, but He said will come in time. Just remember when you're standing in the valley of decision and the adversary says give in. Gotta hold on. Our God will show up. He gonna show up. Woo! Thank you. No, He did. Hallelujah.
and the hills will not be hard to climb. He never offered the victories without fighting, but he said it'll come in time. Oh yeah, just remember when you're standing in the valley of decision, and the adversary says, "Hear me, just hold on."
We thank you for the privilege it is to come to your house to worship you in spirit and in truth. I thank you, God, because you've been good to us in spite of. I thank you because you continue to reach out to mankind throughout the world. I pray, God, that you would draw them unto yourself. I pray, God, that your power would be manifested, that you do a work as only you can. I pray that you would save and convict souls in this service, that you'd break every yoke and every chain, and we'll be careful to give you glory and honor in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. God bless you. We're so glad that you're here this morning. A special welcome to every visitor that we have. We're grateful for the Spirit of God that's real, that makes changes in our life, not just one day, but every day. We're thankful because he loved us more than anybody in the whole world. Nobody will ever love you and do for you what he has done. We're glad that you're here today. I hope that you came with an open heart to receive what God is sending your way. And don't point it at somebody else. You take it. You take it. We're quickly to say that so-and-so should have got that. That was their message. It's your message. So listen to what he's saying. I'm coming to you from the 14th chapter of St. Luke. The 16th verse says, wait a minute, 14th chapter, yes. The 16th verse says, "Then said he unto him, a certain man made a great supper, and bade many, and sent his servant at supper time to say to them that were bidden, Come, for all things are now ready. And they all with one consent began to make excuse. And the first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray thee, have me excused. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. I pray thee, have me excused. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. So that servant came and showed his lord these things. And then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, Go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in hither the poor, and the maimed, and the halt, and the blind. And the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. And the Lord said unto him, and the Lord said unto the servant, Go out into the highways and hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. For I say unto you that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. I want to preach to you a little while this morning. We need to make room for God in our life. Man is so busy doing his own thing. And you know what's amazing to me? He lives his life as if he's going to live forever. I don't really have to worry about anything. I'm not getting ready to die. Everything's okay. No, it's not. We got to make room for God. It is amazing to me how quickly we will rearrange our time, all because we really don't have time for God. We got to do this other thing first. I think it is a tragedy. It really is. It is a tragedy that over a period of time that people continue to make excuses why they don't have time for God. So now he's asked all these people, I made a supper. Nothing is more rude than you fix dinner and you invite somebody and they don't show up. I had that to happen to me one time. Boy, was I mad. And went through all this stuff, setting the table, and everything is ready to go. And the people that were coming called the last minute and said, we're not going to make it. I thought, how rude of you. We just sat down and began to enjoy our own meal. But you know what? When he calls you, when he prepares something for you, you better show up. If you don't show up, I guarantee you, you're not going to make it. So he said, I've made this great supper and I bid many to come, but out here in the audience today feel like you can't come to church unless he comes. When you get ready to die, you're going to die without him. And when you get ready to die, you're going to die without her. And when you go to hell, you'll be separated. So think about it. So he says, come, for everything is ready now. I prepared it for you. I went to Calvary. I've given my life. I've sacrificed it all. Everything is ready. All you got to do is commit now. See, I'm just so busy. Life will keep you busy until the day you die if you don't stop and say, I'm going to make time for God in my life. And there's always an excuse. I hate to see when people miss church and I look up and say, well, where were you at? Well, you know, I had to do something. Where were you at? Well, you know, such and such a thing happened. Well, you know, I don't know. I was trying to get ready and then suddenly this happened. These excuses are no good. If you want to go with him, you're going to have to say, I'm going with God, and I'm not letting anything or anybody get in my way to prevent me from doing it. People are busy. No room, no room. Once your life gets crowded, if you crowd your life with all this stuff, you're not going to have time for God. So, I mean, as you progress in your life and your so-called ambitions and your goals that you've set for yourself, if you don't say, I'm going to have some space for God, you ain't going to have any. Because you'll just fill your life up with all these things, and if we don't have any room, where are we going to put him? Because we've got all this stuff going on, and we think it's really important, except it's really not. The only thing that's really important is whether or not you serve God and whether or not when he comes back, you're ready to go back with him when he comes. Listen to this. It came to pass as they went that he entered into a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha received him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was cumbered about much serving, and came to him and said, Lord, dost thou not care that my sister hath left me to serve alone? Bid her therefore that she help me. And Jesus answered and said unto her, Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things. But one thing is needful, and Mary hath chosen that good part. And that good part which shall not be taken away from her. She has chosen the good part. You know what? We don't feel like taking time out for God is the good part. We think going to the club, having a beer, having a party, and doing all these things, that's the good part. But he said, I'm not concerned about you, Martha. While you're complaining about she's not helping me cook, Mary recognized the honor of having Jesus at her house. She recognized that she needed to spend some time with him, and she did such. And so now she's sitting there listening, and Martha's over here telling the Lord, you know, make her help me. He said, you know what, Martha, you got issues. You got issues. Mary is sitting down. Her concern at this point is not about dinner. It's not about what's going on. She would rather sit at his feet and learn from him the thing that is needful, which was the good part that's going to make a difference in her life, which will also make a difference in your life. If you'll make room for God, I'm going to school, I'm working, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, cut it back. Cut some things back and say, you know what? I can do this later. I need some prayer time. I need some reading of the word time. I need to spend some time with God. I am not going to, for a minute, get so involved with all this stuff in my life until God's just not there. You know, I just don't have time. And then when trouble hits you in your life, first thing you want to say is, Lord, have mercy. You better be glad I ain't God. I look right down and say, have mercy for what? You know, mercy for what? People run to God when they have trouble. If trouble clears up, you know what they do? They resume their life again. The time will come in your life that when trouble seemingly is no longer there, rest assured, it's coming again. As sure as we live, there's going to be another storm. There's going to be another difficult time. There's going to be some issues that you got to deal with at some point in time in your life. So put God on hold if you want to. Don't give him 100% if if you want to. But I will tell you, the time is coming back around. And it's not going to be good all the time. She's sitting there listening to Jesus. I mean, who wouldn't want to sit at his feet and listen to what he's got to say? But she's saying, we're trying to get the chicken done. I need some help with the salad. Take a seat. Take a seat and say, Jesus is here. Why would anybody want to be doing anything if he's there? Why would I want to be involved with anything at this point? He's here. I don't want to be bothered with husband, wife, children, nobody. I need some time that don't include my husband. I need some time that don't include my wife. I need some time that doesn't include my family. I need time that my friends, my job, my career, and everything has to be set in a certain place so that I've got time to spend with God. I talk about this all the time. The importance of having a relationship with God, spending time with him, not with all this other stuff. And then when the storm comes, what do? They run to the road. Would you pray? No. Why haven't you been praying? Why? You're not ready for the storm because you haven't prayed. You ain't ready for the storm because you have no relationship. You don't even know this person. You don't even know him. Not by a long shot. You know, so all of a sudden you want me to pray. I'm not doing jack. You stand up and say, you know what? I need to pray. But you should have prayed before the storm. You should have prayed before it got tough. So then when it gets tough, I got the strength to stand tall. I don't buckle with the storm. In fact, I ride the storm. The storm don't ride me. I'm going to be the overcomer. Listen, you got to understand this, that no matter what happens, I had better plan my life that includes God. He cannot be an afterthought. I got mad with a man in my house just not long ago who had done some work in the house, and now he didn't do it exactly the way I wanted, so I called him out and had him take a look at what he did. I said, you see where that problem is right there? He never would acknowledge it. And so I need you to fix that. He goes back, and the lady that worked in the shop, she knew what I was talking about, and she did it exactly the way it should have been done. So she sent me a copy of it over the internet, and I said, this is perfect. This joker comes in, who messed it up to begin with, and he's saying, well, I'm going to charge you $900 to fix it. I said, no, you're not. I said, you want me to pay for your mistake. You didn't do what I said, but I'm supposed to pay you? I said, that's not going to happen. So what he does, he said, well, he got real irritated with me as if I cared. You already got the money, now just fix it. Anyway, he came back later and said, let me see what I can do, in other words, to satisfy you without doing what needs to be done. So he sends me this other thing in email, and it sucked. And I had my son-in-law to email him back, or my daughter, whichever, and said, tell him, and then he apologizes that I didn't like it. I said, your apology doesn't fix what you left undone in my house. And rest assured, we won't do no more business with you in the years to come, though we've done a lot over the years. But if you can't at least have enough integrity to say if I messed it up, I should fix it, no, that's not going to work. So when I look at people's lives today, we don't want to fix what's wrong. We don't want to set things in order. You come to church, you hear a message says you need to make God first in your life. We don't really want to do that. So we try to find some little way around, a little scribble. He comes sending me this cotton picking scribble. I said, I don't want a scribble, I want a flower. Everything else up there is a flower. You see any scribbles? No, I don't want it. And God is saying to you, don't offer me no scribble. You're going to have to do the real thing. You're going to have to do what it takes to get this done. You don't sit around make excuses for your flesh. I don't feel good, but I got a headache. Well, my kids, they want to go to the park, and my kids want to. What about what God wants us to do? What about that? We'll spend time with our kids, and I'm not against that. I'm not against it, but I don't think that all with your kids, and God's somewhere out here somewhere. And we wonder why our marriages don't work, and we wonder why our children don't work out, and things go badly wrong in our lives. They go wrong because we don't want God in there. We just want whatever our kids want. I want to try to make them get a good education. I want to work with them. I want them to be productive. And ain't nothing about God. Nothing about God. Listen, you better start teaching your kids the better part. Yeah, it's good to get an education, but you need a relationship with God. Because if you get an education and you don't have God in your life, if you make a lot of money and you don't have God in your life, you didn't choose the best part. You left it out. You need to bring it in check. Take a look at it and make up in your mind, I'm going to change this. I need to look at my life and see what things can I rearrange. When you get saved, you need to rearrange your life. Because now it's got to be time for God. Should have been time all along. But now that you're saved, you have to rearrange it. You got to fix it. See? So we crowd the space. And then we say, I don't know where I'm going to put the Lord. You know, he's at the door. Jesus, you know, I can let you stand here for a minute and have a few words, but I don't really have any place for you. I don't have a place. We cut everything so compacted in our lives, and we fill up every nook and cranny, and there's no place to put anything else. Sometimes if I buy something that I really like, and I ain't got nowhere to sit it, that means I have to get rid of something to have a place to sit it. And so the same thing applies here. You got to have a place, and if you don't have a place for him in your life, start moving some things out, changing some things, rearranging the rooms in your life. Making room for him, that he's got a place. He's not in some little closet room at the background of your house. And so in case you need him, hey, Lord, are you still there? You know, I'm sorry, they had time for you this week. You know, Johnny, he's got football. Lucy's got dance. And we got all this stuff going on. And are you still there? Eventually, I will get to you. If you think you're going to play God like that, think again. You're not going to play him and get away with it. It's not going to happen. But we filled it up with all these things. And then we have the nerve to excuse it. Let me be excused, Sister Rose. You understand. I'm just so busy. My job told me they want me to work overtime. What about Jesus? Why can't we say I can't work overtime? I have a prior engagement. And what is that engagement? That engagement is between me and God. I don't have to get into it with you about my personal thing. I just say I got a prior engagement. I can't do that. Well, if you can't do that, we're not going to be able to use you. Well, you won't use me then because I can't do it. See? God said, I want room. I want a place. See? The NRS version says he entered a village where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home, and she had a sister named Mary. That's what I've read. I'm reading the new version, who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to what he was saying. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks. So she came to Jesus and asked, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to get up and help me. She's got all these tasks in her life, things she's got to do. My husband is being honored tonight. My daughter's graduating from kindergarten. This one over here is doing this. All these little things, and we just keep adding little things in our life, and I just don't have time. You know, I promised I'd always be there for my kids. Did you ever promise you'd always be there for God? What about him? You would have kids if it wasn't for him. You would have a life if it wasn't for him. You couldn't even move around and breathe every day if it wasn't for God. We didn't never stop to think where it all comes from. That none of these things would be possible without God. I can't believe these people just get caught up. Okay, I had a baby. And people have babies every day, all during the day, all night long. You got to have some time for God. Have the baby, train the baby. So you ain't got to sit there and do everything with the baby. Train the baby. People train their dogs. Train the baby. I trained my kids. I better have trained them after having 7 of them. If I didn't have none of them trained, I'd be in trouble. I had to train them. I brought the second baby home before the first one was a year old. Shame on me. And I said to myself, But I trained that girl before I got the other one home because I'm thinking, I'm going to have 2 babies in diapers? No, I'm not. So what did I do? I trained her. She wouldn't even wet the bed at night at 11 months old. You went, Mommy, I get to pee, Mama, I get to pee. In the middle of the night. I thought, I need you to move over because somebody's taking your place. Now, I'm either going to train you and put you in position, or else I'm going to end up with 2 babies with a bottle, 2 babies with diapers. That's not going to happen. Since I didn't think that I should have waited and told everybody, there'll never be another kid for me. 2 months later, I was ashamed. I didn't want to tell nobody I'm pregnant again. But you know what? If I had not taken the situation that I had and put some things in place, my life would have been greatly overtaxed. And I told my daughter before she had the first baby, had Kyle, one and only, praise God, but she had Kyle, and I said, Niecy, you better start organizing your life, because once you get a child in your life, it takes a lot of time. But organize your life. I believe in organization in everything. Because if you have organization, you can get a lot accomplished. You have no organization, you get nothing done. And I said, so start planning. You know all the things you have to do prior to his arrival? Then by all means, what you need to do at this point is begin to set things in order prior to that baby's arrival, or you're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel like I don't have enough time. I can't do this. And you're going to get very frustrated. So she started planning. She didn't plan as well as she should have. And so I didn't want my kids to have grandkids because that's not my thing. I can't tell them they can't have babies if they want to. I just wish I didn't have to be the grandmother. And the reason being, after raising 7 children, you don't want to have to go through it all over again. And when your kids have kids, that's what you're going to do. You're getting ready to go through it again. The first time I had him call, Mama, baby's running the temperature, so Mama, he was up last night. He's got diarrhea. I think he's cutting teeth. I'm thinking, here I go again. I'm reliving this nightmare. I went through it 7 times. I don't want to redo it. I want to sit back and enjoy my life. So I only have 3 grandchildren, 3 out of the 7. Praise the name of God. Because I always get caught up in it. Call Mama. Call Mama. Ask what you do when they got this, when they got that. And it looks like he's acting funny. Mama, what is that? I said, you know what, Mama, I checked this temperature. It won't go down. And I said, that's why I didn't want y'all to have babies. I didn't want to relive this. You said, you got any feelings? Of course. I had feelings enough to say I don't want to relive this. Yes. Sure. And no matter what you say, no matter how you say it, once it happens, your life until they are grown, and then they get grown and they do crazy things, and you say, if I'd have known you would turn out like this, I'd have never had you. Who wants it? But what we got to do, okay, once you get pregnant, you're going to have to deliver. Now, should you not start preparing ahead of time so that you're not in a fix where you can't function? Then I end up having twins, so I had 4 children, then I had twins. I really was in the game. And I said, what am I going to do? 2 babies at one time, one at a time will drive you crazy. I trained my kids, though. I didn't have spoiled kids. I spoiled one. And that was the first one. She drove me crazy. Well, I didn't want her to cry. Oh, that's a little hard. What is it, honey? Nothing. Just want you to pick her up and laugh and Google with her and all that stuff. I spoiled that kid till I had to cook dinner with her sitting right here. I had to vacuum the house with her right here. I had to do all this stuff with her right here. Because she's satisfied as long as she's on this hip and I got her and I'm functioning totally handicapped. I can't get things done. I need 2 hands. She got one, I got one. And one day, I got so aggravated and I thought, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. There's nothing wrong with this kid. She's dry, she's been fed. You have to lay your rear end in that crib and I'm getting ready to get some work done for a change. I put her in the crib. So a friend of mine said, let her cry for 3 days. Not that you didn't go see about it in 3 days, but let her cry. Let her cry for 3 days, and I'll guarantee you, you won't have to deal with it no more to break the spoil. I followed her advice. It was so true. I lay her down, and she started screaming and hollering. The minute I pick her up, you're running my life. I mean, I'm not even the mother. You're telling me what to do. So after 3 days, she screamed. I went in, I changed her diaper, I fed her, I burped her, put her back in the bed. Scream, scream, scream. Yeah! Yeah! She's mad. She is truly mad. You're coming to get me. You always come before. I didn't go. And I shut the door to the bedroom. You go in there, she go to sleep. I thought, you get the message. The next day, she started all over again. I thought, no, I'm making this 3 days. When you have the first baby, you don't want to hear them cry. Bless her little heart. They'll drive you crazy. Third day, after that third day, I never had a problem with her again. I fed her. I burped her. I changed her diaper. Put her in the bed, and she just played. I thought, isn't that nice? That is nice. And I'm telling you this. As long as you give in to your flesh every time it whines, as long as this is the things I want to do, this is me. And God says, I died to deliver you from you. I died to set you free. This is me, I just can't do. I've never been able to multitask. You'll multitask or you'll go to hell. One or the other. They're going through all these changes. I don't know how I can do this and cook and do this and do that. You got to learn to multitask. But don't let all your tasks become about you. Where's God at? Where is he at? Make room for him. See? Too many times do we fill our life with temporary things and we're expecting permanent results. I want to be permanently happy while I bring in a temporal high and expect to be happy permanently. It doesn't happen. You cannot do temporary things and expect a permanent result from it. You got to do what you need to do in everything and give it the time it needs. And you need to be able to say, no matter what, I'm going to quit putting things in my life that move. That constantly move. People move. People change. People here with you today, gone tomorrow. People like you today, they can't stand you the next day. We fill our lives with people that are temporary. Man is temporary. He is in transit at all times, going and coming. He's here today, he's dead tomorrow. Fill your life with things that don't move, that don't shift. Things that are solid. Paul said the things that we see, they're temporary. Those things that we don't see with the natural eye, they are spiritual. And they are eternal. They last. They're not just for today. We got too many people expecting husbands, wives, children to make your life full and happy. And you got dreams, and you're expecting to fulfill it. They don't want your dreams. Mommy, I never did want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't want to do that. I want to do nothing. And you're saying, honey, you understand, I've got your interest at heart. I don't care, mother. You've lived your life. Let me live mine. If that's nothing, it's nothing. And we want to be left alone. You better believe it. I've seen people wrap themselves up in their kids only to be greatly disappointed. Wrap yourself up in your husband or wife only to be greatly disappointed. Love them. I was married for 34 years. I know what love is. I know what good marriage is. But don't wrap yourself up in it and make it your life, because if it moves tomorrow, what do? The thing you called your life, you cannot function if it moves. See, if Charles was my life, I wouldn't be here today. I loved him. We had a great marriage, 34 years. Great marriage. But he was not my life. He was a part of my life, and I a part of his. But when we make something absolutely 100% our life, we always get disappointed. We always get frustrated. We always get aggravated because I was dependent on you. I was looking to you. Look to the hills. From whence cometh your help? Your help cometh from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Look to him. Quit looking to people to fix every issue in your life. Every psychologist got problems himself. He's sitting there listening to you. By the time you get through, he's thinking, I need to talk to somebody. He got his own issues. He's a human being. And we believe that. I talked to my psychologist, and he let you tell him everything that was wrong, and you leave the office, and you diagnose yourself. And you pay him a couple $100, and he's sitting back resting because after you talked, you found out what your problem was. So had you talked before, you already know that. You're not going to make it in this world if you leave God out. Be sure you clean the house enough that there's room for God. Go through house cleaning. I'm talking about the house of your heart, of your life. Go through a house cleaning. Clean things out. Get rid of some stuff. Let some old friends go. Some people that have never brought anything positive in your life, let them go. So I need some positive things in my life. Rid yourself of negative, especially negative people who are always going to tell you, well, you don't know, honey, things are bad. It's the way the life world is. And, I just quit expecting anything good. Well, if that ain't a way to live. I don't want to look for nothing good. If it happens, I say, whoa. But if it don't, at least I wasn't expecting nothing. You don't even have an expectation of better things. Not even expectation. Fill your life with God. You know when David said, my cup runneth over? My cup runneth over. You know what he said? It ran over with God. If you fill your cup half full with all this mess, you'll run over. But you ain't going to get the benefit of a full cup of God. You're not going to get it. So if it runs over, fill it to the brim. Fill God in every aspect of your life. In everything, include him, and it works. How you know? I lived it. I still live it to this day. See? You have any space available? Any space available? Never thought about that. Not really. You better make space. When you are full of God, he's completely occupying your life. In your thoughts, he's there. In your plans, he's there. In your concerns, he's there. If you really get full of everything of him, you will not have a lack of happiness, of joy, of peace of mind. In spite of what I'm going through, as Brenda said this morning, I still got some joy. I ain't going to hook up with people who make me miserable and unhappy. I'm going to fill myself with God. I don't have depression. 46 years, I'm not depressed. Depression hurts. You seen that commercial? That dog goes to this owner and takes something, and hopefully they're going to play with him, and she's said depression hurts. The dog looks up like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And you wonder why you're miserable. You give 6 days, 5 days to your employer. And don't even give God 1 day. You'll be here on Sunday morning. You ain't coming back tonight. It's like I already done my little religious duty. I went to church this morning. God said, could I have just a day? Since all your other 6 days is already allotted out, could I start off with one? No, we're not going to give that to God. I'm just busy, we don't come back to church on Sunday nights. It's family time. You got 6 days to have family time. 6 days. And if your employer wants to pull you in and make you work 7 days, somewhere we got to say, I can't do that. Because if I don't keep God in my life, I'm not going to be able to give you a good job, actually do a good job for you either. Because I'm not my best until I'm full of God. See? You can only become complete and whole with God. There's just something missing in my life. It's called God. I got everything but God. It seems like this should be working, but God. I don't know why me and my husband can't seem to get along. We argue, we bicker all the time. Nobody prays in the house. You got to have somebody's got to pray. The home that prays together does stay together. Have prayer time. Reading of the word together. We do things as a family. Where's the spiritual base from which we function from? We don't have a foundation. And if we do have one, it's shifty. It's not God. Build a solid foundation, then you'll stand tall. You won't be shifting. You won't be over here and over there and over here and over there. Come on. Your life could be different today just for one decision. Making God the head of my life and put him in the center of everything that I do and ask for his counsel and his advice in everything that I do. He said, all thy ways, everything you plan to do, acknowledge me. I will direct your path. I'll show you what to do. I'll lead you down a good path. You don't have to go over here and over there. You don't have to do that. Think about it. Think about it. God's talking to you this morning. Fill up to the brim, to the point of satiety. I feel this sense, just good feeling. Before my husband got saved, I was saved 13 years before he gave his heart to the Lord. And I used to watch you, Poop, and I thought, gosh, why are you always happy? Why you got to go have a beer to kind of kick it off? I mean, or some stinking vodka. Ooh, that's some bad smelling stuff. You got to have something to get your head bad, to try to let you escape and looking like a fool and stinking like a muskrat. And do all these things trying to cope with life. I used to look at him, I thought, I wouldn't have your life for nothing. Driving home drunk, parking sideways in a parallel parking space. It's just unbelievable. And come in the house staggering and stinking and smelling like a distillery. I said, I can't stand the smell of that stuff. He have no quality of life. That's why people do drugs. That's why they do alcohol. That's why they suck on cigarettes, weed. They do all this stuff because I'm trying to find this place. It's here. Where you at? God's been here all the time. He was there all the time, waiting patiently in line for you to finally say, I need you in my life. I cannot make it by myself. Man wants to be gratified. That's why we got people a whole society that's been on sex and money. It's about gratification. Something that makes me feel good. They have a source from which they derive pleasure. Because I just want to feel satisfied. They go from woman to woman, having sex with this one, having sex with that one, and still get up saying, you know, something's missing. It is. Sex was never made and put in place to build your whole life. It's overrated. It's overrated. You know, all you need is sex. For my daughter got married, no matter what's wrong with her, she said, Mama, I think I need sex. No. You'll find out real soon that sex is not the answer. And people finding that out and they wake up and think, man, what is it? You had sex with Susie, Janie, Lucy, Alice, Teresa, and still searching. It's like, get a break, give it a break. If you go to Teresa's house and have chicken, and Jane's house and have chicken, and Laura's house and have chicken, after a while you're going to say, I don't want no more chicken. You start telling, baby, you got anything else? That's why people have gotten bored with sex. They've gotten bored with it. That's where oral sex came in. It's like, find something new. I tried it the regular way, man. Was there anything new? The devil says, yeah, just turn into a dog and start oral sex. Dogs have oral sex. Whoa! He said, man, she came out with a left hook. I was doing pretty good there for a while. oral sex like you, well, just have a cup of coffee. You know God never designed sex to be oral. Sex was designed to be a vaginal situation. Not oral. That's not why he made my mouth. Are you kidding me? You gotta be sick. And the devil said, I'll just make you like a dog. You tired of it? You've been out there so many times. You looking for something new? Well, have some oral sex. In my day, when I was coming up, you didn't hear much about that. Every now and then you'd hear something about it. But now it's like, you read in your magazines, they tell you how to do it, what's going to work best, and which way to do it, to try to satisfy your man. Oral sex, a dog spirit. We're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be in a different position. You say, oh my God. Just try to visualize that for a moment. That don't even look right. It's just something that's too close to all kind of stuff. That's where you have your BM at right behind it. Whoa! You want to get that close. Suppose the gas passes. You say, oh, Lord have mercy. I'm in the wrong church. What are you going to do if suddenly she had beans or salad and she has gas? You going to run for cover? It make you run sometimes just sitting by somebody saying, did you pass gas? Did you pass gas? You rest assured when you leave from here today, you will say, I ain't never heard it on this fashion before. But you know it's the truth. You know what I'm saying is true. You might be doing it, but you still know it's true. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Man wants gratification. Make me feel good. Whatever way you can, baby, make me feel good. There have to be some cotton-picking limits. See, we become a sensual nation. We like to be amused. We like the source of delight. We like sexual pleasure. We go to pleasure dome called churches. A place of pleasurable entertainment and recreation. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for the gospel. We're not looking for Jesus. We're looking for whether I can pick up somebody, whether I can go with you and we leave the church and head somewhere. That's what they're looking for. You ain't in a pleasure dome this morning. As a result of that, the church has lost its power. We can't persuade men to come to God because we don't serve him. We're not living for him, so I can't persuade you. And so, honey, I just want to please my husband, please my wife. Where's that article I found? Let me read just a tad of this. It's too much to read all of it, but at least it helps. Shut up. It says, this is in what magazine is this? Ebony. It says, The View from the Pew, Ebony polled 192 singles at an Ohio Pentecostal church. 54% practice abstinence since dedicating their lives to God. 46% believe sex before marriage is a sin, but do not practice abstinence. This woman says Yolanda Jordan remembers the moment she decided to have sex for the first time. She was 27, fresh out of grad school, in a committed relationship, and very, very heated. She was also raised in the Baptist church and had taken a vow of abstinence. I was curious, said Jordan, now 34, a graphic designer in Columbus, Ohio. My mind was telling me one thing, my body another. I was grown and longing to be touched. I am not perfect. I struggle with sin. I strive to live a righteous life. That should be just the opposite. You should be striving to live a righteous life, not struggling with sin. If you're in a struggle, it's because you don't want God. You're not in a struggle about the things that you love. You're in a struggle about the things you know you shouldn't do. That's where a struggle comes in at. Listen to this. She says, I thought this was over the top. She said, just because I have a Bible on my nightstand and condoms in the drawer doesn't mean I love God any less. Yes, it does. Because if you got condoms in the nightstand, you're preparing for something. If you're not going to have sex, why you need condoms? Okay, I love God, and it doesn't mean I love him any less. Many Christian youths have signed abstinence pledges or wore purity rings, have reached a crossroad as young adults. They are faced with upholding biblical principles against sex outside of marriage during an era when the average age of first marriage creeps toward 30. You know why people marry later? Because they have sex all the way till they have it. Till they get there. You don't have to get married. You don't have to get married right away. Just go ahead and have sex. Celibacy may be even tougher for singles who have splashed around the pool of fornication long before dedicating their lives to Christ. More are asking, am I really condemning my soul to eternal damnation by getting my freak on Saturday night and praising the Lord on Sunday morning? As many as 80% of young unmarried Christians, now this is not Christians, 80% of young unmarried Christians have had sex. You're not saved. You're not a Christian. According to Relevant, a magazine for Christians aged 18 to 30. Even as they uphold abstinence as ideal, religious leaders can no longer ignore the elephant in the sanctuary. From a newsletter published by Pastor Creflo Dollar, there was a time when marriage was honored and respected, and sexual relationships outside of marriage were certainly not accepted as the norm. However, times have changed. Values have moved away from the standard of God's word because of selfishness. God ain't changed. He said, last year, Jumping the Broom, produced by Bishop T.D. Jakes, opened with Paula Patton's character regretting her decision to have casual sex the night before. But the rom-com portrays her finding true love and deciding with her fiancé to abstain until their wedding day. It was Jake's decision to include the morning after scene, Patton told the Christian Post. We make mistakes, but the goal is to become better people. Quit saying because you had sex with somebody that you made a mistake. Every person in this building this morning have a full knowledge of the consequences of sex and the responsibility that we have as adults. So don't call it a mistake. It's something you wanted to do and you did it. It's not a mistake. You don't accidentally have sex. I don't accidentally fall in the bed. I don't accidentally fall with my clothes on the floor. Get a grip. A mistake. That's not a mistake. I know what I'm doing. Yes. Listen. Says, but finding a Christian man who is actually willing to wait may be easier on screen. He's not a Christian if he's not willing to wait. Don't call him a Christian. Single father John Fitzgerald, 29, acknowledges the difficulty in putting faith before the flesh and has even ended relationship because of the woman's decision to remain abstinent. Yes, it's wrong, but I'm still doing it, he says. It's something I struggle with in my personal relationship with God. You don't have a relationship. You're not in a struggle. But people say don't make sex such a big deal. But for a lot of people, it's a deal breaker. You either go all the way or I'm going to have to leave you, baby. Put that joker to the curb. See, I don't have free Cracker Jacks. I have a prize here. And I'm not letting you empty my box so I can, you know, we used to get Cracker Jack, we empty the box out and get the prize. And that's exactly what people are doing today. But all they do is empty their box out, and the man takes the prize. And then he looks at you and says, baby, you know, I'm not about a serious relationship. Well, I think it's pretty serious if you're in the bed with me. That gets serious. And we got people passing around like nothing. The Bible is clear that you should not have sex outside of marriage, but that is not the reality of what's going on, says Sophia Nelson, award-winning author of Black Woman Redefined, Dispelling Myths and Discovering Fulfillment in the Age of Michelle Obama. She cites the finding that more than 50% of single church-going women admit to having sex. That's what they are, church-goers, not Christians. Admit to having sex. 40% of black women do not marry until age 35, and more than 45% of African Americans older than 14 have never been married. Black Christians face a long road of chastity. I don't want to have to wait forever. You know, how long is it going to take God to do something just like that kid of yours? It looks like it's going to be a while. Well, you done been up and down the street a few times. You need rest anyway. You should thank God for time out. The shoulder of that road is cluttered with breakdown, and those who have run out of gas. Almost 3/4 of black children are born out of wedlock. It is unrealistic in the 21st century to expect celibacy until marriage. It's not unrealistic. People do what they want to do. We live in a sexualized society, and during a time when people marry much later, says Nelson. She points to a double standard among Christian men who face little judgment for indulging in pleasure and promiscuity. As a reason, some sisters pray for a husband, but find themselves over 40 celibate and bitter. But you know why you're bitter? And you know why? Because you have put yourself in a position where you was thinking you'd find a man who thought like you, only to find out he was there for one thing. I'm looking for a moment of pleasure. A moment. I'm not looking for a relationship. I don't want to get serious. I just want to take from you something that should be of value and give it to you. And you walk away, and I don't get a phone call. I don't see you. Come on. We're better than that. Say, I can't read all this, don't have enough time. But let me tell you, fill your life with God. You can wait to have sex. I mean, seriously, you can. They tell me you'll lose your mind. You're already crazy. You're crazy already, so don't worry about losing your mind. That's done. Try to turn your mind, your life over to God and let him fill your life with him so you can become sane. That you don't have to say yes when you really don't. I don't really want to say yes, but you know, I don't know. I just couldn't handle it. This man is something else. You should say this dog is over the top. Because you're not getting ready to have a great life. You're not getting ready to have this grand relationship. You're kidding yourself. Because everybody gives it away. It's free now. We don't have to wait for anything. It's free stuff. Let's go across the street. Jane will go with you. Go next door. Sally sure will. They don't have to wait. If you don't want to, there's 100 women out there that will. But you know, until we become valuable to ourselves, till we possess some self-worth, till I am of more value than that, I'm just not going to go with anybody, anytime. Make room for God, and you'll find you'll have the power to say no. Without him, you have no power. You must be a slave to sin. Paul said, the thing I said I wasn't going to do, I did it. Why? Then he reached the conclusion. He said, I understood that then it was no more I, but it was the sin that was in me that had control of my life. Think about it. Where is Jesus at in your life? Preachers now are no more than performers. You go to church to be entertained. And not here. You're going to hear the gospel. I may not never see you again. I may not ever, ever preach another message to you. But I better be sure that while I'm here and while you're here this morning, you said, baby, my seat was so hot I couldn't wait to get out of there. We got some cookies for you. At least get a cookie and cool off a little bit. We're trying to help you. We're trying to give you the truth for what it is while people lying to people every day telling them God understands. No, he does not. For this purpose was the Son of God manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil, that he might empower you to say no. You cannot say no without God. Preachers are as full of lust as the people they preach to. Same position. They are performers who want to entertain you. You don't leave church feeling like you need to change your life. You feel like I had some fun this morning. Hey, preacher, you know, Girl, he just like me. You better run from him. He shouldn't be just like you. He should be better than you. He should walk in a place you're not walking. He should have a relationship with God that you don't have. It should be a whole different story. Think about it. Where are you at this morning? I leave the question with you. Where are you? What am I doing with my life? I came to this church this morning. I found the answer. What was wrong? I often wondered why I still have this void that seemingly cannot be filled. And that's why. Because that place there is only designed and created for your Creator, for God. And you try to put John there and career there and children there and all these things. And you keep coming up empty trying to figure out why. God said, go to Sister Rose Church this morning. You don't know why you're going there, but I'm going to send you over. You think you're going to just a regular church. It ain't quite regular in here. Because it comes hot off the press. Straight from heaven. Saying, take a look. Take a look. You just seem to be so. Just shoot from the hip. My God, we're going to have a little break here? And you really have to be this hard and tough? Hell is hard and tough. I'm trying to keep you from going there. I care about people. I was called to preach this gospel. I was called to tell you what I'm telling you this morning. I was called to do it and make it clear. Don't leave nothing where people got to say, I didn't understand. There ain't a person leave this room this morning that'll be able to say, you know, I didn't understand anything she said. You're going to say, oh, get in the car. Your husband say, honey, how you like that? Baby, I'm still trying to sort this stuff out. I don't know. There's some stuff I didn't even know preachers told stuff like that. I would have never dreamed I'd heard that kind of stuff in a pulpit. You should hear it everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. Will our musicians and singers please come forward? I wish that you would take the time, cut business ventures down, have family time, have God time. God time's at the beginning. Everything else falls under that. Take a look at it this morning. Where are you? He died for you. He gave his life. He loved you with a perfect love. And to this day, he still does. Take a look at your life. Things can change for you now. Not later, now. You won't even give him a whole day. You get out of church this morning here shortly. You'll be dismissed. And you gave probably a couple hours here. Those came from Sunday school, gave a little bit more. But the rest of the week is going to be what you want to do. And God is saying, if it wasn't for me, you couldn't do any of it. Think about it this morning. Make a decision. Make a decision. I got to change this. I cannot remain the same. I've got to get my life in order so things begin to flow. That I begin to have peace of mind. I have joy unspeakable and full of glory. I've got more than I ever had in my life. You'll never feel totally full and complete until you fill up with God. When you fill up with him, he empowers you. You're an overcomer. You're not going the wrong way. Your thought process changes. Your goals change. Because now it's about me and God before anything or anybody else. That's what I told my husband when I gave my heart to the Lord. I said, honey, I always made you first. Now you're going to have to take a second seat because God's going to be first in my life from this day forward. That happened 46 years ago. He is still number one in my life. And I'm a happy girl. I can preach to you the full truth and feel it deep within. If I made a difference. If somehow something was said in this building this morning that would change your life, then my job and what I've been called to do is not in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can help somebody in a word or a song, then my living will not be in vain. Sing a little bit of it. And while they're singing this morning, if you say, Sister Rose, I need to change, I feel like God was talking directly to me. He is. He's doing it because he loves you. Your life's going to run out one day, and all the plans you ever made, it won't really matter. All the goals you ever set, it won't really matter. Give God a chance. Give him a chance to do it right. Come back to church tonight. So I think I'll just give it a try. She said we should give God that. Well, the word says Sunday. I'd like for you to set that aside for me. And we still don't do it. You hurt his heart. He gave his son to die that you could be free. To give you the chance of a lifetime. You'd have never had no other way except he gave his life. This morning, let it not be in vain. So I'm going to do something with this. I did something with it. I've never regretted it. Because I became better because of his love for me. And the same would apply to you. So while you're sitting there this morning, they singing the song. Would you stand? If you want prayer, please come forward. Then my living shall not be in vain.
If I could have somebody as I pass along. If I could help somebody with a word, with a song, if I could help somebody as I pass along, in my living shall not be in vain. If I could help somebody as I pass along, and if I could help somebody with a word or with a song, if I could help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. Sing it if I could help somebody as I pass along. If I could help somebody with a word or with a song, if I could help somebody as I then my living shall not be in vain. Oh, my living shall not be in vain. Oh, my living shall not be in vain. You see, by day and by night, you know the Lord is with me. He's with me always. Said my living shall not be in vain. If I could have somebody as I pass along, if I could help somebody with a word or with the song, if I could help somebody as I pass along, in my living shall not be in vain. Oh, my living shall not be in vain. Oh, my living shall not be in vain. By day and by night, the Lord is with me always. You see, my living shall not be in vain.
The Lord said to me this morning, tell you, I spared your life all this time while you was doing your thing. I didn't bring you back to Colorado for you to continue your thing. I brought you back that you might start with me. I'm not gonna sit in the background of your life. I want the front seat, and you either give it to me or I will judge you accordingly. You know what's right. Let him have the front seat. He's not gonna ride in the back seat while you do your thing. Let him up front. Father, in the name of Jesus.
Shall not be. Oh Lord, in vain. Oh, my living. Oh yes.
If you would, remember the message. I will tell you today, when you leave this building, you will never forget the message you heard today. I've seen people I preached to in Europe. Years and years. I've been out of Europe for 30 years. And it's not uncommon for me to see a person that say, Sister Rose, I came to your church when you were in Germany. And I can tell you the message that you preached after all these years. The truth is the most powerful force in the world. And once you get it, God says, what you going to do with it?
That's right.
You can get it this morning. You heard it. Now, what are you going to do? He said, I'd like to have Sunday night in your life. Sunday night, give it to me. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to say? He said, I want Sunday night. I'm asking you to give me a start.
That's right.
Give me Sunday morning, give me Sunday night. And then there will come a time in your life from making that start that will turn your whole life around and give you happiness, peace, and fulfillment. And every person can have it. God bless you. They got refreshments for you. We're glad you're here. You're in a good church. I'll never tell you nothing that's not true. Never. God bless you. We love you.